Hey, this is Team Prozone here. We have a combo explanation of our Norleras deck.
Alright, the first thing is the main combo, Phantom of Chaos and Sky Scourge Norleras. Basically, Phantom of Chaos allows you to banish one monster from your graveyard, and it gains its attack and effect. For this, you pretty much are always targeting Sky Scourge Norleras. Norleras, once you banish him and Phantom of Chaos gets his effect, he gets the effect that you pay 1,000 life points to send all the cards on the field to the graveyard and every person's hand to the graveyard. And then you alone get to draw one. Your opponent has nothing on their field, nothing in their hand, and you have one card. Now with this deck you can work out the graveyard and work with that one card to gain some decent advantage, and your opponent has nothing really, unless there are a couple of different decks that can play out of it. And you can usually get him in the first 5 turns at least. 2 or 3, 5 at most. Which means your opponent really has an issue coming back from that. So then the other thing is, I just very briefly discussed this in the video. Trade-in and hand destruction. To get things in the graveyard, I run 3 Norlerases, 2 Nephesis, and 3 Dark Creators. They're all level 8s, and to be used for trade-in. Basically, I need the cards in the graveyard so I can use Phantom of Chaos. And hand destruction and dark trade-in let me do that while maintaining some hand advantage, without just randomly dumping stuff at tons of minuses. Next, I have Dark Nephesis. Most people don't really know what it is. Basically, if I have 3 or more dark monsters in my graveyard, I can banish 2 to discard him to the graveyard. Then, during my next standby phase, I can special summon him and destroy a spell or trap on the field. So, I can use his effect before I use Norleras to wipe the field. So then when I have nothing on the field next turn, I get him back. I get a 2400 beat stick, which is really nice. And if they did play anything, I can destroy the spell or trap before I carry out the rest of my turn. I have Dark Grepher. Basically, he allows me to send lots of things to the graveyard, anything I want. I discard my high level monsters like Norleras to send my cards like Vayu to the graveyard. I think that's enough about that. My Black Wings. Basically, Vayu is the main aspect of this deck. Vayu allows me to banish him and another Blackwing from the graveyard to synchro summon one. So basically if I try and get Vayus and Sirakos into my graveyard, so I can make my armed wings. And then if my armed wing gets destroyed, I can make a Armor Master and so forth, which is why I run 3, 2, 1. Now my Vayu gets banished, so I need to run my stuff to bring him back, but I have a couple cards to do that, and I have 3 of them in the deck. So you just get a lot of them in the graveyard, wipe the field, and then start swarming the field, and there's nothing your opponent can do about it. One more thing, Vayu negates their effects, so they are basically just beaters, but they get higher in attack as the higher up level you go. Next, I just have a couple other cards to point out. Dark Creator. If I have 5 or more dark monsters in my graveyard, I can banish a dark monster, just special summon one from my graveyard. He's really awesome. He allows me to swarm my power cards from the graveyard, and just bring back some damage, swarm the field, allowing me to use, where's my extra deck? Oh yeah, right, holding it. I can swarm level 8s, use him, and just do whatever I need to do. He's great swarming, beating. Sometimes you can OTK with him even, if you have a couple you can use. Then I have Plague. If you have Dark Creator and if you have Dark Creator in your hand, Norleras set up, and the Plague in your graveyard, you can activate Plague putting Dark Creator on the top of your deck. It doesn't even matter if you sink into anything, but then when you use Norleras' effect and wipe the field, you draw into Dark Creator. And if you have 5 or more in your graveyard, you can go off with him immediately. It's just a nice way of guaranteeing you have something good on the field when when Norleras clears it off. Then you just have your Maliciouses. They sync with Plague for level 8. Basically, if you have one in your graveyard, you can banish it to special summon another one. So with play, you can go into Void Ogre Dragon or Infinity Doom Dragon, which are just allow you to do a lot more control. I'll go into them in a minute. I run Photon Strike Bouncer because I can run level 6s. The Malicious basically special summons himself for free, and if I don't want to sync with him, I can overlay. And Blackwing Armed Dragon. Basically, I can get him. There's no cost if I don't care if he goes back to my graveyard because I'll just bring out an armor master, and it's a bit of a bounce, beat stick either way. And Photon Strike Bouncer allows me to have more control because Dark Nemesis has spell and trap card control. Photon Strike Bouncer has monster effect control. So Void Ogre, basically if I have no cards in my hand, he's a Sheehan. Once per turn I can negate a spell or trap effect of my opponent's, which is really awesome because he has 3000 attack, 3000 defense. They can't do much. Even if they can pull something off, it slows them down a lot, and he's just a really awesome card. Infinity Doom Dragon, I don't use him as much as I use Void Ogre, just because I like Void Ogre's control aspect, but Infinity Doom Dragon has a nice burn ability and can destroy stuff that he can't get around, which makes him really effective sometimes if your opponent comes back with a really sticky situation. Next, I'm sure you all know what Burial from a Different Dimension does. Brings back 3 remove from play cards. It's really nice because I'm banishing a lot of cards with Vayu and Plague, mostly. But I can also bring back and Phantom of Chaos, sorry. But I can also bring back anything that my opponent banishes, or yeah. But I also have Doomsday of Horror. What he does is he gains 300 attack and defense for every remove from play card in my graveyard, and when he's destroyed, I get them all back. So it's awesome, right? I mean, basically he can become a somewhat of a beater, and then he can bring back everything when they get around him, and I can go off again. You know, all those Blackwing synchros, all those Phantom of Chaos plays, and all those Dark Creator plays. They become a lot more viable with him. Alright, that's the deck.
Team Prozone out.